Hey, welcome again. This is Raz with Can We Talk? And I guess you guessed it again. I'm cooking again. Um, I'm actually going to make a homemade chicken soup. My wife is sick. And I know being sick is nothing that I like. So I'm going to do what I can to, you know, nurse my wife back to health. She has been there for me when I needed her, and if I have a skill or talent, or just the mouth to find out how to um, keep her healthy, keep her happy, I will. Because once again, gentlemen, as you know, happy wife, happy life. Don't add anything to it. Don't try to read into it. Just happy wife, happy life. But I'm going to continue along the topic of my previous video about Donald Trump going into Venezuela and finding out some more information that Venezuela was in debt to the Chinese by $100 billion. And we know from history the Chinese, when they have a nation in debt, they wish to collect payment, and payment can't be made. They seize assets, and the assets that the Venezuela had to offer the Chinese would have been the oil and there's and other precious minerals that are available in Venezuela. Now, we live in North America, and Venezuela is in South America, but both of them exist in the Western Hemisphere. Now, China or any hostile communist country do not have a foothold in the Western Hemisphere, which keeps Americans safe, South Americans safe, even Central Americans safe. Now, although there is Cuba, which is um, an ally of Russia, there's almost like an understanding for Russia not to try it again because not everyone here is old enough to remember the Bay of Pigs, the missile crisis um, that we had in Cuba when Russia wanted to put their missiles, their warheads in Cuba. Part of the U.S. government wanted them to, so we can go to war with the Russians. But fortunately, the intelligent part of the government won out and did not allow the Russians to do that. So, in almost history repeating itself, if the Chinese, which were buying a substantial amount of Venezuelan oil, were able to seize the oil fields, which Chevron is part of. Um, they could have maximized the production from, I think it's 800,000 barrels a day to 3 million barrels a day, which would have been a large impact on the global economy when it came to crude oil. And of course, they would have sold to the Russians, unless the Russians were or would do something to create tension, and they would raise the price of sales to America. It would probably create the Gulf countries to now compete with their prices, or produce more oil to offset America's loss of oil. So there was a lot to play into this, where I think Donald Trump's, how do I want to say this without disrespecting the office? Donald Trump's word repertoire is not tamed enough to diplomatically say what needs to be done. And granted, in today's America, with our government, how it fails to function as a well-oiled machine, to pass all these by Congress and the Senate, it may have taken some time. It may have also allowed our adversaries to restructure to be prepared for what our actions would be. So, as much as I hate to say that the action was, militarily speaking and economically speaking, justified, because these are angles that we, the average person, we're not privy, or we don't keep up on this information on really how much is the price of tea in China. We just know how it affects us when we go to the market, when we go to the gas station. If gas is higher, we now want to know why. But we don't put enough interest into actions that need to be done so our gas isn't high at the pumps. Now, Maduro, I believe his regime came to power through the finance of drugs. That's my belief. That is not factual, and I'm not claiming that to be factual. That's just my belief. So, no one write in here and challenge me on the facts. That's just what I believe, and that's just looking at that country economically and politically. That's how most politicians come to power in that part of the world. You have to be highly financed, because he, at one time, I think he was a soldier, and then he got into politics, and then when that bug bites you of power and greed, you really don't question where the money's coming from. You just agree. You just take the money and look the other way. And when it comes to those that are doing things illegal, you tend to look the other way on them as well. But I also believe that there was some type of agreement made with the Maduros, because I don't ever remember anyone talking about his wife being a criminal his wife breaking the law, and for her to be included in some type of indictment and whisked off to the United States along with him as not a co-conspirator, but as a separate criminal. But they brought them together. And rumor also has it that their daughter came with him, which was paid by the United States government. And this is just rumor. But in hearing that, I think and I believe that there may have been some money paid to the Maduros to allow this to take place so the United States can come in and seize the oil fields and act as, I guess, a governor of sort to the sales and management of the oil fields, which would keep the Western Hemisphere safe from having a hostile communist country in the Western Hemisphere. And it just seems kind of strange that for them to be in an iron bunker and just, let's say, they didn't have opportunity to make it to the lock room, which is the steel room. Who turned off the sensors for the Air Force that would detect planes? Who turned that off? And when the bombs dropped and there were explosions, how come the Maduros weren't notified right away? I do believe SEAL Team 5, 6, and 7, they're great. They're awesome. Awesome soldiers. I have no doubt on their ability because they are the best of the best, and we have some elite units that are above them. But the United States soldiers are just doing what they were instructed to do, and that's what soldiers are paid for, to do their duty and follow their orders, not the reason why, tis to do or die. So, no soldiers are to blame, and I pray to God that no soldiers were harmed or killed in this. But I do think economically this decision should have been made. And we also should be responsible for the stabilization of the Venezuelan people. We shouldn't have harmed Venezuelan people. We shouldn't persecute those that are exiled, those that wish to immigrate into the United States. But give that some thought and let me know how you think things would have turned out if we didn't do what we needed to do and China was to seize and control those assets, how that would have changed the demographics in the Western Hemisphere. This is Raz with Can We Talk, and that's just food for thought as I prepare food for my lovely wife that is sick, but I'm trying to nurse her back to health. I love you. Many blessings. It's still a new year, and reach one and teach one, and God bless all of you.